Boss Lady Conversations with Monica L.
and Coach Kaya.
Boss ladies are
Vulnerable,
authentic,
love,
hopeful,
abundant.
respected.
Boss ladies are
You.
Welcome back, Boss Lady listeners. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Boss Lady Conversation Season 2. I'm your girl, Coach Kaya. I'm a boss wife, mompreneur, sister, writer, and certified transformational coach. What do? I help people access their power, heal the trauma of their past, and reignite their dreams. Also, manifesting the miracles that really matter. Not the ones that they think should matter, not the ones that other people want to matter, but what matters to them in real time. My IG handle is at I am Coach Kaya.
Welcome back. I am Monica L., a boss lady, Cleveland born, LA raised, on a journey of freedom and happiness as an educator, entrepreneur, self-published author, and poet. Let's get it. My IG handle is at Monica L_writer. And just take a moment, shout out to our friends. We appreciate your support so much. I mean, we are here on season 2. We are on every platform possible, including YouTube. We are just excited. So please tell someone who will tell someone to join us. This is a movement.
I love that, Monica L. It's our listeners that make us better. It's the people that we're in the ring with, the people that are giving their best every day and just trying to let their light shine. So we really hope that you've been listening and enjoying Boss Lady Conversations. We're really happy to be on YouTube now. So we're really trying our best to expand. It's not easy, but we love this journey and we love being stretched. And we hope that you are willing to stretch with us. We're also thankful to God for giving us a platform for creativity, growth mindset, healing, support, and intentionality.
Yes, Coach Kai, you said that so eloquently. Our mission has always to give everyone a brave space to learn, to grow, and contribute. And we want you to walk away from Boss Lady Conversations feeling inspired, imaginative, and more importantly, boss up to go after what really matters in your life.
That's right. That's why today's topic, how to boss up by elevating your business with founder Elki Camacho. That's why we're doing this show today, because according to Forbes.com, Black women represent 42% of new women-owned businesses, 3 times the female population, and 36% of all Black-owned employer businesses. And to me, this really confirms that women of color, Black women, are really out here making boss moves when it comes to entrepreneurship. No, we don't have all the answers, but we know what we don't want to do anymore. And I think that's really important, because knowing what you don't want can really create an avenue to what you do want. And sometimes you really do have to just step out on faith and give it your best shot. So today we're talking about entrepreneurship and enjoying the value of ownership.
Oh, wow, Coach Kaya. Yes, that touched both of our souls. And you know what? We appreciate everyone, like you say, on their journey, and those who want to be an employer versus an employee. But those stats is something that everyone really needs to pay attention to. Because when you think about the legacy and the companies that we know that are household names, they all had to start somewhere.
That's right.
It just didn't come overnight. And we support them. And hopefully some of us actually have some stocks in them. But that's another show for another day. And there's no reason why we can't have that type of long-term with our own companies. And thanks to our Boss Lady Conversation guest, Elki, we are going to learn how to have that with tips to elevate our businesses and move forth. Elki comes from a dual background in adult learning and technology. Having schooled at William Patterson University, she also studied at New Jersey Institute of Technology, as well as Edison College online. As a certified DISC and 5 behavior certified coach, her path to coaching began with a building drive to be more effective and impactful while in corporate. And as the principal founder and CEO of Elki Consulting Group, she brings her learning, talent, and understanding of core competencies to a business so it can establish itself, grow, and thrive. Elki is an avid community leader and provides coaching and professional development. She is amazing, as you can tell from her bio. And she loves to help business owners love their business again. Currently, she is the president of the Manhattan BNI Chapter 25 and is on the board of Women Entrepreneurs International, as well as the Hudson County Chamber of Commerce. Whoa,
Hey.
She is busy. This is a busy boss lady who is joining us today.
So I think this is a perfect time to give a warm Boss Lady Conversations welcome to Elki Camacho.
Hey. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Boss Lady.
Hello. So thank you. Thank you both for having me. This is truly an honor and a privilege.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you taking the time. We know time is so valuable. So we wanted to just ask you, if you could choose one movie that describes your boss lady journey, which one could you choose and why?
It's a great question. And I wish I had a better answer. And in my typical fashion, I would say it would likely be a book, not a movie. And maybe perhaps it would be a movie one day, but I don't know how interesting it would be to the masses. So there's a book by Susan Cain, and it's called Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Won't Stop Talking. And it was a book, probably one that I read over and over every single year, that has inspired, helped me unlock things, but it looks at introverts and extroverts. It looks at power within. It looks at leverage and confidence and perspective and science and all sorts of different things. Again, probably not a very interesting movie if they ever make one out of it, but it's a tremendous book, and she's a tremendous author. And that would probably be the thing that I could say represents some of my journey. I think part of that, and the reason why, is because there's both learning and journey and evolution throughout the book. Her story, there's science and learning in it, there's neurological and physiological, all sorts of elements, but her journey shows an awakening, an understanding of information applied. And then with that awakening is the application. This is a knowledge I now know, and now I can show up different in the world. And it's not only me showing up different, but it's being in the world in a comfortable place. And when you're comfortable, you are more powerful, you are more confident, you are more influential, because your focus isn't on you. It's not on me, right? I'm not thinking about my shirt or the temperature or what people are thinking of me. I'm able to focus outward. What am I here to do? Who am I here to be with? What's the environment? What's going on? And so that book, and it's a poor summary. That is not on the book cover. That is not, people will be like, Elki said this is about a journey, right? It's a nerdy book, but it's a great one. And if there are any of us introverts out there, let's unite behind a book. And it's a great one to pick up, one I'd highly recommend, but I'd say that one.
I love that. Yeah, because I like to think I'm an introvert, even though some people are like, Monica, you are not an introvert, but that's what I like to think. And I love what you said about that. Like you say, when you're able, what I heard was, when you're able to be comfortable in your own skin, then you can focus on the other things in life that really matter. And I like that, maybe that's a book club and maybe that's our next chapter. So I welcome that. I definitely welcome that. Yes. So for our boss lady listeners, and including myself and Coach Kaya, tell us about your path to entrepreneurship through coaching, and how did you know that you were on this journey, and what did it look like for you?
I wish there was a day that I knew. I knew what I didn't want. I knew what I couldn't accept any longer. And it might have been, honestly, some of the first times that there were some hard boundaries in my life. And it wasn't quite understanding what I wanted, but it was being very clear on what I didn't want anymore or any longer. My journey started in a very unconventional way. So I did a lot of schooling, more schools than were even listed I have no paper. This might be the first time I'm publicly sharing that. I have no degree. I have credits out to wazoo from all over the place. I mean, maybe one day I'll combine them and become a KHD or something. Who knows?
I love that. KHD. Okay.
Anything. I'm like, some letters. I have a lot of fancy letters after my name, and I love learning. I'm an avid learner. It's one of my strengths, and I can consume an incredible amount of knowledge. But more than just the learning, I love the application of it. When I was at William Patterson, I was there on a full ride, a full academic scholarship. I left to study the Bible, which is another passion of my life and pretty much the biggest guiding principle in light of my life and my business. I knew I wanted to work. I work hard and I like working and I like being helpful. And I'd say that that was where my journey started. Can I help you with that? Can I learn? Reading help files. I read help file after help file. I read manual after manual that was collecting dust that people overlooked. And I got promotion after promotion after promotion. And I happened to land in pharmaceuticals, right? A wonderful industry. It has its good and bad. And there was a lot of opportunity afforded to me there. But there was also a lot of opportunity I made there and confidence and asking God for help and being willing to show up and being willing to put in a little extra effort. That was effectively where my journey started. I could probably recount every single time someone told me this will be the last promotion you ever receive if you don't get your degree. And then by a certain point, I would say the usual thing, which was, is this next promotion dependent on me finishing my degree? Because if so, I'll go back and do it, pay for it, and I'll go and do it. But it never was. And so I'd go to get the information I needed so that I could be more effective in my role, serve my teams better, be a bit more effective on projects. And then eventually still, even in owning my own business, I get the information I need so that I can apply it and help make some impact. I grew up in corporate America and in very white corporate America in a male-dominated industry and a male-dominated field. I straddled both learning and technology, which is a very unconventional marriage, but it just happened to be around the time when a lot of things were moving digital, right? From paper-based, those 5-inch binders to CDs and flash drives, right? Like we were mailing CDs out all over the country, like it was hot potato. And so because I was willing, because I said, I'll try it. I very rarely said no, which is probably a podcast for another day. Because of that, it did afford me a lot of opportunity. And so I muscled up, tried my hand at things, and I'm super, super grateful for that. I had some tremendous, tremendous mentors and leaders along the way. I learned very early on to be aware that I didn't get there on my own, right? And in that awareness, to be mindful of reaching back, of pulling other people forward, of making more space, of extending a seat. And so I think that was something that started very early on in my corporate days, simply because, when you're the minority everywhere, when you're the youngest one, when you're the youngest chick amongst all the men, when you're the one that has no letters after her last name in a sea full of a lot of letters and a lot of accolades, there are a lot of things that you learn very quickly. And so corporate was fantastic. That glass ceiling, cement ceiling, whatever we want to call it these days, was very real. And I hopped into the beauty industry for a while, which was a beast of its own kind, truth be told. Some great people, some great opportunity. But there was where my boundary went down. That was where I sort of set it. And I said, this isn't the impact that I'm trying to make in life, right? I'm not here building a legacy. I didn't start my business with a vision of cornering the market or becoming the next Accenture or the next agency or any of that. But I knew that there was a whole market that was grossly being underserved and grossly being underhelped. And I had knowledge and skills to help them. And that was what I wanted to do. And I told myself, if I was going to work this hard for someone else, if I was going to eat this much dirt for someone else, I'll do it for myself, right? If I'm going to work that hard, let it be my own sweat that goes down on my pillow at night.
Yes.
And I came into the entrepreneurial market, not clear on what exactly it was. And yet, there's another great book that I love recommending for people that are not sure of their next step or transitioning in and out of stuff. It's a book by Laura Fortgang Berman, and it's called Now What? but the exercises in that book, I still remember. She talks about mourning the losses of your job. What are the things that you're getting prepared to leave behind? She talks about harmonizing the things that people in your professional and personal life come to you with. And so I stacked all of that up, right? Like, what did my friends and family come to me? Like, where did I show up? What were the types of things that I was able to help? Where was my muscle naturally flexed? And what were the things that I liked to do? And even in professional landscapes, you know, what was it that I was good at, that I excelled at? And where was the harmony and overlap there? And before long, I found it and I'm in it and took my steps and I'm sitting in my stride and enjoying it. Helping business after business along the way.
Oh, that's the best. It's so good to hear you laugh and just know that you're in your purpose. You're living in your purpose. And that's the best gift that you gave yourself.
It's, I was sharing with somebody today who I just reconnected with after many, many years, actually from my pharmaceutical days. And she asked, you know, what have you been up to since you left the industry? And I was like, how do I even begin to answer this? And one of my answers to her, I said, this has by far been one of the most challenging efforts I have ever undertaken in my life. And equally and more so, unbelievably rewarding, more so than almost anything else in my life. And it's healthy, it's exciting to be fully present, to be fully engaged when you have all cylinders firing. I mean, there's so many of us at different seasons and stages of life that snooze our way through things, right? That are just halfway on, halfway off, halfway in, halfway out, halfway paying attention, halfway vested. To build something of your own, to contribute, to make these impacts that show up to nobody else other than yourself, right? Like I don't get any huge awards and ceremonies for my clients. Oh, thank you, Elki, right? Like, there are these little things that I see, and those are like my joy, the joy of my heart. Like, I got to really help and make an impact. I got to do something really purposeful. And so thank you. It is wonderful to be in your purpose. Absolutely.
I wanted to know, I know that you love helping people with service-based businesses, and just how do you attract your clients, and what do you think mindset has to do with it? Because I know, I feel like in my coaching program, business was a very small part of it. It was just like, we're giving you the skills, get out there and go. And it's like, oh, okay. Business also. So I'm just wondering, like, how do you find your people, your tribe, and how do you focus on like helping them make a mindset shift if it's needed?
Coach Guy, you just gave my pitch. Yes, I work with women that are passionate and dedicated, that are visionary and hardworking. Like, nobody's telling them to get up at 4. They're running the extra mile on their own, right? But they don't actually have a formal business background, or they don't have those hard and fast business skills, and they want to, right? It's when I did hit my stride, when I really narrowed down what I'm doing and why I'm doing, my vision was very simple. Like, my purpose here stands in the belief that it's about time that we hand more businesses down to our daughters. Generations and generations of men have done this, and they've handed down more than just knowledge. They've handed down confidence, and they've handed down networks, and they've handed down equity from father to son and father to son. And it's about time that women embrace that same vision, right? So when it comes to, right, the stats that we opened up with that you guys so beautifully shared, those are real numbers. Small businesses, almost 50% of them fold between years 1 and 3. And then the remaining ones that survive between years 5 and 7, they tend to fold, right? So the ones that eke out, we're still at a dribble. And part of that is changing our mindset from side hustle or extra money or a little thing that I do. Well, let your little thing that you do be something that you pass forward to your daughter or to your son, right? Whatever that looks like, but give it to the daughters. They haven't had their moment. Let us have the moment, right? And look, if my daughter one day chooses to take up the mantle, more power to her. And if she also says, Mommy, it's not for me, I don't want to do it, take it, sell it, use it as equity for your dream, right? The only channel for vision and progress cannot be institutions. Ooh, I'm going to get off on a whole tangent. It cannot be institutions that leave us $200,000 in debt and in a really precarious type of situation, right? So there have to be options that we teach our women and our children and our daughters younger and earlier about calculated risk, about betting on yourself. You asked me about mindset. Yes. When I started my business, I didn't know exactly what it was. And I'll be hard pressed to find a business owner that knows exactly what it is or who can articulate their vision in a very precise way, because that vision lives and breathes and grows within you. So yes, mindset of what you're willing to do and recognizing how hard it is and still being willing to do it anyway, that's every day. That's part of every day. Attracting clients, it is mindset. And it's not, one of the hardest challenges I had in my own business was selling. I don't like to sell. I like to do, I like to help. I have information. I want to use it to help you, right? This is part of what I want to do. I stand in service of the audience I serve. So I didn't like selling. And that becomes really hard when you have a business and not a nonprofit, right? So how did that work? Well, for me, I pray. I'm a prayer. I pray about everything. I pray about a hangnail. I pray about my business. I pray for my clients. I pray. That's what I do and how I operate. But through my network, through prayer, through all of these things that come together, I've met some tremendous people along the way. One of them was an amazing sales coach. And she effectively really helped me to understand you're not selling them. You're meeting them where they are. You have knowledge that can help, and they have a need that's hindering them. So effectively, you're meeting in the middle. And when you have a negotiation, you've got a sale. You're talking about the dollars, but that's pretty much it. And I was like, oh, that's all it is? I could do that, right? I mean, you have to remember, I grew up in the sleazy, epitome of sleazy sales, right? I'll sell a one bristle toothbrush to a person that has no teeth, right? Pharmaceutical sales wasn't always as clean as it is now. And so I had a lot of mental hurdles to get over in those aspects. And how I get my clients now, 90% of it, thank God, is referral based. I'd love to say I have this amazing website. I'd love to say I do all this stuff on social. I don't do all this stuff on social. I'm that generation that's like, I don't know. My website, it isn't all that great. I'm a strategist. I'm not a marketer. I'm a think tank. I'm not colors and shapes and all of that stuff. And I'm thankful that the clients that I do serve and the work that I have done speaks for itself, in that it continues to fuel my business and it continues to fund my business through the pandemic. I was still a young business in the pandemic, and it was very precarious. And thankfully, I'm still here, still doing it.
Yes. And that's because you said prayer. That's what I heard. And that's the best type of compliment, is a referral. So that is showing that you're doing the work, because people are like, yes, you want to work with her in order to grow your business. So congratulations to you. And I really like what you said about giving it to the daughter, because I feel like I come from that generation where it's like, you go get a good job, however that's defined, and you stay there for 20, 30 years, you retire, you wish upon a star and just be happy. You go there early, you leave late. Some people say, put your head down and just grind, and that's what you do. And no one ever talks about like being happy or living in your purpose. It's just like, you're happy, you got a check, and that's your happy. And whatever you do with your check, if you had $2 left, then you can go be happy with that. But you're talking about confidence, confidence, and teaching our young girls that you can be business owners. Like, how many people really talk about that they can go out and be entrepreneurs, and not that you just go and work for someone, or you work for someone with a purpose to learn their business and then you start your own.
Boom.
And yeah. Or you have, like you say, that mother who passes it down, Madam CJ Walker. You know what I mean? Like, she had $1 million business that long ago.
Come on now.
Yeah. Like, for real. Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah. And servicing a need. We all have needs, and you're like, where do I go to get this, that, and the other? So you create it. So I like that you said that. And on a side note, there is a correlation, they said, for women who are athletes, that they do have more confidence than those who are not. Like you say, that assertiveness, the things that are all attributes when you want to be that entrepreneurial spirit. But with that being said, for the listeners, and that's clearly me and Coach Kaya too, right? What are 3 strategies you will offer to our entrepreneurial focused listener about working with a business coach effectively?
Tips that I would offer for working with a business coach. 1, don't waste your money if you're not ready, right? And I want to take a beat here, right? I say this because nobody's paying all that money to get a personal fitness trainer if you're not going to show up. It's a lot of money, right? You want to transform your body, you want to get back into shape. Maybe you're working out for your wedding or whatever that looks like. Well, you're putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, but you're also paying the dollars.
Yes.
Well, a business coach is no different, right? There's blood, sweat, and tears. This is not a do it for you, right? As a coach, I'm here having the privilege of a wider perspective, of experience, of skills that I get to bring to the table, of helping you, to teach you where there's skill gaps, where there's opportunities to do it better. But this isn't a do it for you service, right? Maybe Amazon, Walmart, who knows, right? They have all sorts of do it for you services. IKEA will come and put it together. But a business coach is coaching you. So you've got to want to do it, right? So if you're not ready, don't waste your time and don't waste their time. I think that's my number 1 tip. Come ready to do the work, and come ready understanding that your business needs work. In my business, I tend to not work with startups as much for the sole purpose that startups tend to follow the dollar, right? They have capital, or they saved up capital, they're investing it, they're starting their business. Everything is new. Everything is pie in the sky. They could do everything, right? 3 years later, they're like, ooh, this is a little more difficult. Ooh, it's a little harder than I thought it was, right? It's a whole different story. And then they're also a little bit more humble to say, yeah, I tried it. It didn't work. So I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to listen to what the coach has to say. I'm ready to listen to a different perspective, right? It's never my job nor my desire to shoot down someone's dream or vision or to change that in whichever way. So I do have to allow people space to realize, try it how you want it to do it. But if it's not working, I welcome you back. Come back so that we can work together on it. So my number 1 tip, yes, be ready for it. Come in eyes wide open. I'd say the second tip that I have for working with a coach is be transparent. I think it's one of the most tremendous things that I offer my clients is a space to be vulnerable and the space to say, I don't know. I have clients that are in the 3rd business, have been in business for 30 plus years, that filled out my intake survey and said, I don't know how to read a P&L statement, but my bookkeeper mails it to me every month, right? 30 years of business, and you don't really know what you're looking at. You don't know the stories that your numbers are telling you about the health of your business. And that's okay. Come as you are, like at the place and point in time when you're working with a coach, they understand that you need help and you're ready to do the work, and that you understand that they are with you to meet you where you're at, right? So that transparency, that honesty, you don't have to get your business all together. You don't have to get your books and your files all together to look like you know what you're doing. This is a space where you get, if you can't say, I don't know in front of your team, if you don't have the privilege or the luxury maybe of piddling around on things in your business, let it be that time with your coach where you could say, I'm overwhelmed. I can't even see the forest through the trees. I don't know which way is up, right? Where do we go here? That's your space, and you'll get the most help. The third tip I have to say is that a business coach is akin to patent leather shoes. If it does not fit like butter on your feet, it will not fit. Just move away. There's a lot of business coaches. They have a lot of different styles, right? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know that. And not everybody's my flavor either, right? A good partnership is a good fit on both sides, right? Patent leather shoes, they look cute. We buy them a half size too small and we're like, oh, they never stretch. They never, ever, we know this, ladies. We know the patent leather shoes will never stretch, right? So find your fit. right? You're getting a business coach. You're bringing someone into a personal aspect of what you've built in your heart, the vision that you have protected. So make sure that it's a good fit for them and for you, so that you can be honest, so that you can be vulnerable, so that you can let your hair down and say, I need the help, and here's what I'm doing and here's what I'm not doing. So those are my 3 tips.
Thank you.
Those are my 3 tips.
I love them. So clear, so precise. And I, I can definitally relate, because
You bought
sometimes
a pair of patent leather shoes that didn't fit.
Yeah. You're like, I like you, right? You can like a person, but they might not be your coach. Yeah. And you can like a person, but they may not be your client. And that's where you have to really know yourself. They have to at least know themselves. And then you can be honest, because maybe, and you also talk so much about networking. So it's like, even if someone is not a good fit for you, it could be a networking opportunity to figure out how you can be a blessing to one another in other ways.
I love meeting other coaches. I love working with other coaches. What might not be my flavor might be their flavor. What I might not be able to handle at the moment, someone else might have capacity for, and vice versa. And this is, I think, for business all around. I thank my mother for this, honestly. And I know it comes from her, from our belief in God, where there's this abundance mindset, which has translated to me in business in so many different ways. There is enough. We're not working off of 8 slices. There is always enough. This isn't me being the best coach there's enough clients. There are enough people. There are enough people that are going to seek you out for what you have, for what you bring to the table, for how you connect with them. And there are going to be enough people for the next person next to you. So why can't we partner up, right? And I think that this is especially meaningful in the women-owned space, because women have been doing business a lot shorter period of time than men, right? So, and in that short amount of time, there have been so many periods ungraciously where we see women pitted against women, and that shouldn't be, right? Like, we need to be the ones to stand up for each other, to support each other. And if that means that we work together, if that means, hey, this is a great client for you, not a good fit for me, we need to know what each other does so that we can partner up and that we can share, right? There is more than enough. We're not working on just a finite 8 slices. I don't believe that at all.
That's so beautiful and so true. I was wondering about how you've been able to stand in your spirituality and your wellness practices. Do you find that it's been a little bit easier, like once you had your own business, in terms of like making sure that you schedule your prayer time, or have you always been just really good about incorporating your spirituality into your life?
It's a great question. Taking a beat, because I want to be honest about this. I think my belief system, my spirituality, my relationship with God has always been, for the largest part of my life, a priority for me. And I don't believe that it has been easy to keep that priority in its proper place. It has always been challenged, right? Whether that has been working for someone else or even having my own business. What did make it easier, I teach the Bible. I have a Bible fellowship in my home. This is something I've done for a number of decades. And there were times and seasons when my 9 to 5 and my travel, I traveled globally for many years. It did conflict with a lot of the commitments that I had made or that I wanted to make, my access and availability, both to my people, my congregation, the people that I had the privilege of overseeing. And it did become challenging. I can't say that it became any less challenging with owning my own business. I will say that the fact that I made the decision in earnest, in my intentionality, that I would honor God in how I worked and what I did, I think me making that intentional decision has made it easier for me to, again, when those priorities get a little bit out of whack, to say, like, God blessed me with this and has supported me through and through this journey. And my decision in my heart was that I wanted to have that balance of availability for God and his people, for me and my life, and for my business, right? There has to be balance. It has to be good for all 3. It can't be great for God and suck for me, right? It can't be wonderful for me and stink for God, right? And what about the clients? Like, there had to be there had to be a solid balance. So I can't say that it's been easy. I think the fact that I was intentional about that decision when I started my business has made it easier for me to come back to, right? Like that was my decision. That was part of my heart in starting my business was, great, I have the flexibility to be able to say, I have to reschedule this meeting, or no, I can't take another client on at this moment, or to be able to honor commitments that I had outside of work.
Love that. I heard independence, because we're keeping it real. This is boss lady conversations, we're not saying that everyone become an entrepreneur and life is great, because we know.
Please don't tell anybody that.
Right. Because you really are reaping what you sow, and you need to really get that income coming in. Whereas if you work for someone else, you do what you do during your days. Right. Yes.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like when we look at like problems and blessings, we've got a bucket of both. Like there are problems that exist whether you work for someone else or whether you work for yourself. And that's, I think, a really big, from the coaching side of my business, I also do, individual coaching and professional coaching, development coaching. Whether you're in a company for someone else or whether you're in your own shop, you are there, right? So there is a lot of inner work. There is a lot of humility in running your own shop and coming up with, ooh, I did that. Ooh, whoops, right? Like there's a lot of ownership and accountability and humbleness in that. But there's an equal amount of problems for one or the other. It's a matter of what are we going to pick and choose, and we muscle through, right? We rise above, and this is part of being a boss lady. We're not crumbling at the first sign of challenge. We're not crumbling we move forward. We move forward.
I love
and
that.
Hopefully and prayerfully together.
Right. And you said making time. And I love the way Coach Kaya posed that to you and how you addressed it. Again, we're not saying any of this is easy, but you're giving tips, very meaningful tips, like the alignment and making that time and space, because things do need to align so you can have harmony in your life. So I love that. So with that, we want to hear about, what are your thoughts on your business in the next 5 years and yourself? What's the big dream?
The big dream, I believe part of, the essence of my vision that I shared with you, I want to have a business to pass forward to my daughter. And so that's part of it. But I also it's only been this year right before the pandemic, I had started to expand. Pandemic happened. I had to kind of keep a lid on things, and we're in a growing stage, and it's really tremendous. I do a lot of mentoring. I do a lot of both professionally and personally. And I think there's a lot to be had. I think some of my vision in the past 2 years has increased in areas of how can my business sponsor, how can we integrate secondary education in some of the high schools and colleges, like some more experiential opportunity. I'll be taken on to high school interns this summer. I was just one of the Shark Tank judges over at St. Peter's University for a bunch of their, college juniors and seniors that have these tremendous business ideas. And that real world experience, there's still a very big gap. And Coach Kaya shared it, right? Like, here are the skills. Here's what you need to know. You got an A, you passed. Here's your certification. Go run a business. And you're like, wait, what? Where was that course? and it's very real, right? And so I think that we need to, lessen that gap between the knowledge and the experience. And so I'm envisioning some sort of a mentor program, working with a lot of the schools in the area. I'm in Hudson County and over here in Jersey City, and really looking at ways to maximize that effort with a lot of other local business owners, right? I think it's important that our business owners seek employment or seek employees in their community. Like that's part of what this looks like is, yes, I want great talent. That also means I have to have skin in the game to invest in good talent. So if I want a great employee to show up at my door in another 5 or 10 years, well, why not start grooming them and exposing them and giving them some experience to see what this looks like?
Okay, you're such a visionary. It's like, I see the way you light up when you talk about helping others.
That's my heart.
That's
It's
amazing.
my heart. I do love helping others. Business is the fun part of what I get to do. And I'm so thankful. It's the most challenging and yet the most rewarding. I love it. It wasn't an easy journey by any means, but I would duplicate it and do it over any day of the week. I'd the exact same way with all its bumbles and fumbles, right? It's, what do they say? It's the rocks in the brook that make it sing.
What are some of those success stories that you think about, like when you're having hard days or you're, questioning, like, okay, what am I doing? What am I really doing?
You can't see it from where my computer is now, but I have a whiteboard behind me, and most of it's internal office stuff and clients and stuff, and we have an ongoing list of stuff that my clients ask us to pray for, and in no formal way, right? I remember working on some of my brand messaging, a tremendous strategist in the marketing arena, and she was asking about my spirituality and do we want it up front? Do we want it behind the scenes? How do we want to work this? And I really had to think long and hard about this. And I said, I can't separate it from me, and I can't separate it from the work that I do. So we have to figure out a way. And at this point, I was already I was sitting in my seat. I'm comfortable, right? This is who I am through and through. Like I said, I'm okay with not being everyone's flavor. And I understand that everyone won't be mine. That does not bother me whatsoever. I can't ever say that I have proactively been like, oh my God, I teach the Bible, and I do this, and and I think it was just the usual conversations. Oh, great to see you. How was your weekend? Oh my goodness, God did amazing thing. And I talk about God like he's my best friend, right? Because to me, he is. I'm like, I have conversations like he's sitting in the seat next to me. I'm like, okay, look, what happened today? So we got to work on some things here. My heart is not okay. I need some strength. I need some peace, right?
I love that.
For me to look at that list and out of nowhere, it's just, hey, I have a situation. I really need you to pray for it. Or sometimes it's a business decision. Sometimes it's about their family. Sometimes, and I look at that and I stand in awe, because I'm not here to shove the Bible or God, or I'm not here to shove anything, right? We talk about what lights us up. You found a good sale, everyone's going to know about it because you love the sale. Oh, 2 for 1, buy one, get one 20% off. You talk about it because you're excited about it. I talk about God because he does stuff for me every day and I get excited about it. But I'm not peddling, I'm not pushing it, right? It's not my job to make anyone believe anything. But it is an honor when people see something in my life or have this trust in whatever bits and pieces that they glean from our time working together, where they have enough confidence to say, I need you to pray for this. I talk to you all the time, and you ask God for something, it's like you blink and God answers, right? And that's a privilege. That's the stuff that you would learn of my life. That's an honor. It's such an honor.
It really is.
So I don't know if that's a clear answer, but it's some kind of an answer.
I wanted to know, which boss ladies inspire you to keep standing in your greatness?
There's some tremendous boss ladies that inspire me. One, her name is Allison, sales coach. She does absolutely incredible things. She's fierce and wonderful and tender and a ball of light and laughter. And she does much more than sales coaching. She, when we have the privilege of standing around people that truly love what they do, is there anything better, right? Is there anything better? There isn't. It's honestly so hard to name. I honestly, if I had to pick one, it would be my mother, who also shares my name, or I share her name. We're both Elkis, and she's probably my number one boss lady. We're Panamanian. She came to this country not knowing the language, went to a school, had a full-time interpreter so that she went to college and had a full-time interpreter so that she could understand what was being taught in English. She put herself through dental hygiene school and became a dental hygienist for over 25 years. And I still remember her making really awful clothing for us when we were young. And we're like, why can't I just buy jeans from Caldor or Bradley's, and why do you have to make my clothes? I don't want to be that kid. And she would read and she would sew, and she would read and she would sew. And now she also has a business, or she does custom draperies, and she has a premier workroom, one of the most premier workrooms in the nation. She does, I mean, anything that has to do with fabrics and curtains. I mean, we went from awful pants for children to incredible yachts and boats and curtains. I mean, incredible, just incredible stuff. From a dental hygienist, I was like, how did you go from working people's mouths to making all of this stuff? And she did not have an easy deck of cards. You know, when I was coming up, my mother was a single mom of 3 and she had a lot on her plate. I'm the oldest of 4, you know, some of that I'm sure cascades down. And she was a rock star, man. That woman moved forward. She moved forward. That was the only option that she allowed for herself, was forward. Doesn't matter how fast or slow. And so I think of it. I think of a boss lady, someone who fought for opportunity, someone who overcame challenges, someone who had a a thin and crappy deck handed out. I wish she at the time knew about talking to your daughter about business and doing all of this stuff, but she didn't. That wasn't what it was, right? And it wasn't the time of what it was. But I look at her business now, the women she employs, they're all primary breadwinners for their families. And that's huge for me. She did it. She provided for her family. She provided for her whole family with her business. And again, you talk about a woman that didn't have formal education. I mean, she went to school to be a dentist. She had her degree. She went to be a dentist. And now here she is, you know, she's had her business now for over 25 years, thriving. This amazing, incredible business. And so when I was looking at my exit from corporate, I did look at her and I looked at the risks and the courage that she had. Quiet and steady and forward. That was my boss lady.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's powerful.
That Panamanian powerhouse. That
yes.
And what I love about this so much is that although your mom didn't sit down with you and say, oh, this is how you run a business and this is what you have to do, vibrationally and in real time, you were there. So you were able to bear witness to this and it impacted you.
Sure. I saw her grinding. She would be up at 4, in bed at 11. She, you know, our playroom got smaller and smaller as her workroom got bigger and bigger. But I watched her grind it out. I watched her hit up all her friends. I watched her expand her network. I watched her hustle. I remember her going to Calico Corners and working as someone, you know, behind the scenes. She was just the one that someone else would hand it off to. They didn't even know her name yet. Didn't matter to her. She grinded and she pushed. And to see where she's unfolded now, and that's the thing, it's like every flower starts small, right? Give me a flower that starts out huge and then comes in. There's not that many of them. They all start out small and they unfold. And that's part of the process. It's okay to start off tiny and unfold and let yourself unfold. And she's built something beautiful and lasting. And yes, I was there to bear witness to the late nights and the early morning and the tears and damaged fabric and kid number 2 spilling juice on something, right? But I saw it.
Wow. I mean, that's such a beautiful story. So many things just came to me. And just again, like Coach Kaya said, like your smile and how you told the story. I mean, so much pride. And like you said, the only way to go was forward. There was no stopping. There was no turning back. You going forth and staying steady in the race. You didn't say go fast because there's seasons for everything. And now she employs other women. How about that? How about that? And then they're learning something that they can pass on to their daughters. Yeah. So it's like basically y'all have a lot of parallels, you know?
We do.
That's what I heard. I heard creativity. I heard stepping out. I heard abundance. I love that. It's enough for all of us. It's enough for all of us. And to think like that and not think like, oh my gosh. And, you know, as we look at cosmetics, what if one company made cosmetics and nobody else said, well, they did it. We're not going to do it. Look at all these brands. Could you imagine
how boring?
Yes, we will all be wearing red lipstick every day.
We'd all be wearing peach peachy
Yes.
cheeks, right?
Yes, because that's what they made and nobody else thought. And just looking at other people, they took it and they made it their own, or they took it and they made it for a certain population. It's just beautiful. I love that story. And go mom. Big ups to moms.
That's my mama.
Yes. So I know our boss lady listeners are like, how can we connect with her and feel all this love and energy? So let us know, how can they connect with you?
Honestly, the best way to connect with me is via LinkedIn. I'd love to say Instagram and do all this stuff, but listen, give me somebody who's looking for a business coach on TikTok. Nobody's looking for me on TikTok. Nobody's looking for me on Snapchat or Instagram, really. If you're scrolling through your Instagram trying to search for a business coach, I think you need to talk to Coach Kaya, get a couple things straight first. So the best way to link up with me on LinkedIn. Like, I'm active, I'm on there. I love to connect. I'm always open for, hey, can we connect? Can I get some time on your calendar? I'm always happy to connect. I am. I'm a relator through and through. So yeah, that would likely be the best place.
There it is. And it's her name. And we'll make sure we add that in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
Elki, we are so happy that you joined us today and really appreciate all of the gems that you shared with our listeners. So we're just going to leave them with a few of your gems, and we really hope that they connect with you for even more. So I've gotten so much from today's episode.
Thank you so much. Can I I know I've taken up so much airtime. Can I 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I want to share my gratitude to you both for your vision in creating this platform and the work that you're doing. Congratulations on season 2. As we were preparing for this and coming up, it was one of those things where I just had a moment in thinking of where might your show be in 5 years and 10 years, and the impact that you guys are doing with other women. You're shouting out names, you're calling out people, you're bringing people up to a platform, and the purpose should be that people connect. You guys are bringing in tremendous talent and tremendous resources so that listeners, and I know you mention it in your intro, you mention it in other podcasts that, other episodes, we shouldn't be alone, right? There's no reason that we should be without resource. And I almost feel like I want to feel and say, like, this becomes my podcast family, right? Like, I can call upon all of these people to say, listen, right? Like, we were in this together. We know what it was like. And I think that's part of the beauty of sharing stories. But it's a huge gratitude and thank you for your vision and what you're offering and how you're serving and the community that you're building. Because it's, when I was coming up, we didn't have podcasts. First of all, we had headphones and Walkmans and tapes, that we were rewinding with pencils. But it's incredible what you guys are doing. So kudos and love and prayers. And thank you guys very much for having me.
Elki,
that was so sweet.
Please let us on your prayer list, because your prayer list is VIP. I'm like, yes, the prayer list.
Yes.
I got you, girl. I got you.
Thank you, Queen.
Okay. Yes, please. And thank you. Yes.
Absolutely.
So I definitely want to drop some of the gems that you share with us today. Number 1, knowing what you don't want and what you can accept and what you can't accept any longer is valuable information. I'll say that again. Knowing what you don't want and what you can't accept any longer is valuable information. Number 2, having confidence, asking God for help, and putting in a little extra effort can go a long way. Number 3, when you make an impact and show up to yourself, you experience joy. Number 4, it's time for us to hand down businesses to our daughters. Let this thing you do be what you leave for your loved ones. Number 5, when working with the business coach, here are 3 tips. Come ready and be ready to do the work. Number 2, be transparent and real about where you are. Number 3, if it doesn't fit like butter on your feet, it will not fit. Find your fit. Make sure it's a good fit for them and you. And number 6, it's okay to start off tiny and watch yourself unfold.
Oh, I said those things. Oh, wow.
That was you.
That was you.
That was all you. Yes.
I'm gonna be rewriting all this down for myself tonight and tomorrow.
We're definitely going to provide you with the notes. Well, we hope you've enjoyed connecting with the wonderful boss lady, Elki Camacho, and learning more about how you can boss up and elevate your business.
And your whole life, and your prayer life, and your love life, and your whole life.
And the daughters and generations to come. Everybody boss
Yes.
up. The ladies.
Amen.
Yes. Amen. Thank you, ladies, and have
Thank
a
you,
good
Elki.
one.